Ambostats, Wanishage, Mangyabit, and my name is Selena Daniels. I am known to the community, to my community, as a strong woman. That's the name that I've had since I was a little girl. And I am from the Stoney Nation, from Morley, Alberta. And I am Aaron Daniels' little sister. He's been practicing traditional grass dance pretty much all his life, ever since I can remember.
When I had my son, with my beautiful late wife, when he was 4 years old, I told him a story about this. He really loves watching those, they call powwow dancing, celebration powwow. Start watching these dancers, you really want to dance. So he told his mom, make me an outfit. I want to dance grass dance. So he made him outfit. He started dancing in that celebration powwow.
I've been dancing since 4 years old. My mom and dad took me over there, and my dad was a singer, so they go sing. Like I was a little boy and just sat there, and pretty soon I want to start dancing it. So,
Yeah, me and my brother are 14 years apart, but he's been practicing grass since he was a little boy. I started dancing when I would say about 6 years old. I was in a Tiny Tots and in the teen category. I danced all the way up to teen categories, and I remember we used to go to powwows almost every weekend, and sometimes would be down in the States for a couple months.
before I had my kids, I went to New York, Nebraska, Tama, Iowa, Skimmitson, you name it, and I went all over the place.
Yeah, and then my mom would make our outfits, and within the Stoney, I learned by my cousin, one of my first cousins, and I learned from her. And yeah, me and my brother would go to powwows and dance, and him and I were the only two people in the family who were dancing at the time. And then my dad would be singing in a powwow drum group, like he was a leader.
So my late father, he has a drum group. He sing with them, called himself, EV Drummers. So he sang group, and then I told him, I want to sing too, Dad, Father, Okay, he said, make me sit beside, and then I asked him a question. The big round drum there, and he says, oh, Dad, what kind of height is this? He looked at me and smiled. That's a horse height. Good thing you asked the question. That's a horse height I made, he said. So that drum was the horse height. Some other tribe, like I said, they use different heights too. Eh? They use buffalo height and whatever the height they possibly good in powers to use it. Music of drumming I learned from my grandpa, and I learned from my late father. I learned from the drum group that he had. I learned from there.
We were taught in the Stoney tribe is that within the grass, it represents that the men that they go out and look for medicine, and then when they found the medicine, and that's when they do the dance, because they are like happy that they showed the medicine that they can take home to their families and then help heal the families. That's what it represents. So that's why it's called the grass dance.
He's passed it on to me so I can learn, so I can help the people. Because that's why my dad and my mom, they passed the medicine on to me so I can use them, so I can use it every day to help the people, so they can understand some more, so they can come back some more.
our dad came up with that name, Highwood, it's because I think it has to represent on where we live, because we live up in the mountains here and out in Morley, and plus, like, there's, like, there's a lot of mountains, trees, everything, and hills. My dad is our dad is the one who came up with that Highwood name, and he used to have a drum group. We used to have a drum group named Highwood Singers, and then I think from there, my brother just decided to carry on that Highwood name. Like, well, I have 2 boys, and then when we have boys in the family, they are the ones who's going to be carry on the traditional dance, the grass dance. And my brother has a young boy as well too, and then his boy will carry on the dance as well too for the next generation. I think he chose it because it, like I said, it makes him feel proud, and he enjoys it, and he also enjoys try to help out the next younger generation, and he just enjoys it. I can just see it in his face that he loves it so much.
Decolonizing to me looks like many different forms, and so it can take on forms in beadwork or sewing, in writing, in how you do post-secondary. Like, for instance, at the place I'm going for post-secondary, it's Indigenous-led and Indigenous curriculum with Western supports. So supports like a laptop, the papers I need for the printing, some of the books that we use, and so understanding that, in a sense, I guess, decolonizing it, because often we'll have to do references, and those references are oral storytelling. And so how do we cite a reference? That reference, if it's not in a book, if we can't Google it and find it, then how will we do that? New ways have to be made for that, or available to understand that knowledge and to bring in that knowledge, because if you're just doing it from a Western point of knowledge, saying that knowledge system is better than another, you're actually saying that other group of people is less than, which really we're not. Everybody is equal within their ideas, their thoughts, the way they carry knowledge and transfer it. And it's just a different way of looking at it and incorporating Indigenous ideologies, methods, and paradigms that we haven't really looked at, and for it to be Indigenous-led. Usually through families, and from grandparents to the grandchildren, or grandparents to the children, the adult children, and then so forth like that, or relatives, through your kinship, aunties and uncles, relative sharing. By doing different activities, going out on the land, if it's picking medicines, or through the language, and through all facets of life. When you're a baby, when you're being brought into this world, and then when you go out too, when you leave and make your journey. There's everything from the day you're born, you're brought into ceremony, you're loved, you're nurtured, and you go through like lifespan of an infancy, youth, adult, and then elder. And so every way imaginable, if it's hearing the thunders, if it's doing offerings, if it's taking part in ceremony, and the language and how you relate to each other, and being that good relative. Taking care of the land or the animals on the land and learning about that. There was a horse that was just born here the other day. We saw her, and she'd been walking around behind us and walking on the land there, and we could see she was carrying, and my husband said she's going to have a baby soon. She put herself away from the herd so she can have the baby. And that was something I didn't understand about that with horses. And then this morning when we got up and we're going down to the store quick, as they're walking out, and Simon was getting the vehicle, and then behind him, she went walking by with that baby foal there, and I was like, she just had the baby, like she in the last 2 days or something. So yeah, that is a natural part of life, and those things that we share with our family, and just tells us that how beautiful life is and how precious.
Way back within our ancestors, there's like the men, they're the ones who, let's say, for example, they're the king of the house. They go out hunting, they go out, bringing the food home, and then they take care of the families and all that, and then the women, they stay in the house in the teepees, and they're the ones who do like the sewing, or like the beadings, like they look after the homes. The women were staying staying in the house, teaching, the younger generations, like us, but now today it's like there's hardly any of that, I would say.
How did colonialism affect the Stoney people?
In many, many ways. I think one of the ways that I see is with the women. And so with our matrilineal lineage, and we now have a membership code in which you have to apply to be a member of the nation. Whereas before, if you were simply, your mom gave birth to you, you would be seen as a band member. And that it goes for a lot of Indigenous nations and groups around Turtle Island. And nowadays we don't have that. We have the membership code, so you have to go and fill that out. You have to wait, and if there's an appeal or something, somebody appealing it for whatever reason, you have to deal with that. And so just a lot of systematic things, paperwork, processes that wouldn't have been in before, that we wouldn't have done, that aren't traditional to our ways. Another one is election code that they do nowadays, and so I think ours is every 4 years for our band, and before that wasn't done. It was a hereditary lineage, so the person that was chief or became the chief or leader, he held that for his lifetime, and so that was a longer time as a leader supporting the people, so that I think it worked better because it showed continuity, and that person actually had to be raised in that way, or they had those characteristics. If it's being compassionate, being honest, being humility, being generous, bravery, all those things would come into play. And nowadays we don't necessarily have that anymore. We have where you get voted in, and so however many votes you get, it shows who will be the leader. And so that's just a difference with it. I think too within that we have labeling, or we've been set into groups of status, non-status, different things that have set us apart. And that's kind of where I see lateral violence coming in the community. And it was something that wasn't really natural before that our people would do. So it's really impacted us a lot. If anything, it's separated us even more when we used to work as collectively as a people.